problem with our academic program that that caused by midriffs that we're trying to solve, right? So my question is, why is that the thing that's going to fix it? And what are we trying to fix? What's happened? I only know, I mean, I don't have a student in the school currently, but I did have a student in the school for the first year that the dress code changed. And I can tell you from a parent perspective at that time, what happened is a lot less conversation about negative relationships with staff and teachers, and a lot more focus on other things, including academics.
I was gonna say, I remember when the dress code changed, I think my daughter was probably like in 8th grade, because I think there was maybe like the last day of 7th grade, she sent me this photo, and I was like, where did that shirt come from? You know, there's about this much. I was like, but then she's like, oh, guess what, the dress code changed. And I was like, well, from a parent perspective, it was like, the dress code may be changed at school. Here's what my expectations as a parent are, what you wear to school.
To be clear, this dress code does not prevent a parent from saying that's not okay for my child.
It was kind of, it was a fun family conversation that we had too, and it rightfully so. And then, well, interesting. But I think that the other thing I was thinking about on that is, you know, I get, you know, that whole part of like, you know, tucking the shirt in. So, okay, so then that's clarifying that. But at the same time, what's the difference between, you know, somebody who's tall and wears the same shirt as someone who's short? And so like we went to, well, let's just say Lululemon, and we bought the same shirt, but you're taller than me.
Oh yeah.
So now when you wear it, you know, there's this much of your midriff. I wear your shirt the next day and there's none showing. So I think there's, you know, things like that could be an issue.
The consistency was part of our conversation and challenge, and part of what led us to make changes, and part of what both I think staff and students were struggling with back in that conversation. We had students who did not just buy, like, they didn't go shopping together and each buy the same shirt. They shared the shirt. They were related and they shared the shirt.
One wore it in the morning, one wore it in the afternoon,
but their bodies were different, and one got dress coded and the other didn't, because their bodies were different. And so my concern is, we say we're not going to shame someone for their size or body type. I don't see that we could possibly do that and have this restriction. That's my
do we know how enforced these policies are in other districts?
That's I think that's, well, that's a great question, and it was inconsistently enforced here.
I can tell you that my daughter's belly button was showing every day at St. Clair Falls. Yeah. So that did not get enforced.
And I just can speak to that. I know that in another district that belly buttons are showing, and it's something that is just being, because of situations like this, and you know, having that time, it's on the policy, right or wrong. Is it, you know, maybe like you said in St. Clair Falls, like not on the policy but not necessarily enforced. You know, was that a good thing or bad thing? And once again, that's for those districts to decide. One thing I can give, I guess backpacks a little bit. I'm totally okay with backpacks not being held around school. I think that's a safety issue. So I do think, at least my personal perspective, should be.
Here's my question about that though, because I've heard that before, and I wish we would allow backpacks. I've heard that argument before, that it's a safety issue. Larger districts, big districts that don't have enough lockers for kids, they don't have a place to put their bag, all of those kids carry their lockers. When you're a freshman at Matamidi High School, you don't get a locker. Mm-hmm. So I have a hard time with the idea that it's a safety issue here, but not there. Because they're all carrying their backpacks, the entire class.
It may be a safety issue there too, they just can't stop it because they don't have lockers.
Sure.
Right? If they had enough lockers, then they would give it, you know. But
maybe.
I don't know that that's new. Is backpacks, also kids have been permitted to use their backpacks before.
They came back with COVID to eliminate the lingering next to lockers.
Oh, yeah.
Right, to keep the distance between students so that not everybody's right next to their locker. That is when that change happened. Before COVID,
I think there's a lot of like all sorts of things can be carried around in those backpacks, and that's hard. Even locker searches, you can't necessarily. I just feel like it could be a slippery slope, or it is a slippery slope, but I think of things like vapes and not even necessarily like guns and knives and stuff like that, but I look at more like vapes and other things like that is sure. That would be my concern of what it's kind of like
I can see it.
when a kid is consistently carrying their purse around with them, and I mean I get that females may want them, for personal reasons, but I think
it's not my favorite rule, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
I can see it. But
That's
knowing
but for me, we run the risk of doing real damage to students with the restriction on midriffs. It feels very gender targeted. It feels very random. I'm not sure what problem we're trying to fix. I have a lot of concerns about that.
I know that in dress code, is there any other issues in the campus? We should tell them, because the whole document has been approved. If we're gonna do an addition, edits, then we should go
There's
back.
a couple of spots where I found old policy references, so page 16.
And,
Or did you fix them?
well, he can't, he doesn't know the
Because we don't
numbers
have the
yet.
I don't know the new so this
We'll update it with, thank you.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, the policy
So like
numbers-
we'll approve it based on updates being made.
Right, so the policies were just approved.
Yeah.
5 minutes ago, so, yeah, you'll get the right policy number to go with it, it's more of a placeholder for now.
There was,
Got it.
What page on, Renee?
I'm trying to find, what was it,
Control F.
Zero?
So much learning is happening.
Oh gosh, what did I do on my computer? I just.
What's it?
Okay. It was about the academic and technical excellence.
What page?
I don't know.
Oh,
What page it was.
sorry.
Sorry, I should have written it down.
You have a page, Marcus?
Academics would be 37 times.
Yeah, technical excellence. That one. They were right next together. It probably was close to graduation and valedictorian, student-oriented, that kind of stuff.
On page 15, academic honors / ledger and land. I see technical excellence there.
Page 15 was
This one here? Academic honors and lettering and lab? Is that what you want?
Yeah, so yep, the bottom part, so the Wisconsin Academic Excellence Scholarship, AES 225. So graduating senior with the highest GPA award, Wisconsin College or University, that student could also attend Wisconsin Technical College. So they could use that academic excellence to go to a technical college, they just have to be attending the state of
That's
Wisconsin.
word technical.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
so for that,
so just that,
so you want technical goes in here too?
yeah, so technical should be in here too. And then this one should only be applied to a Wisconsin technical college,
So
not
that-
college or university. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
yeah, that was a
They're
complicated.
crisscross, right?
So the top one, it could be any Wisconsin college, university, or technical college. The technical excellence is only Wisconsin Technical College.
You got that? Okay. Any other topics within the handbook?
So it was about the distance
Distance
online learning and attendance. What page is that?
I'm sorry.
Because my
I've
computer
done
is
a better job of
11.
Yes.
11?
And maybe I just read it.
Distance and online learning?
Yep.
Okay, what?
So I guess like it said like that. Somewhere I read that it had to be in person. Was that?
I mean,
Students
that-
participating in, so it just means they need to be in the school building taking those classes.
Yeah, they have a designated area within the school. They can't just leave because I've got online classes.
Right, and so this is for like academic, if like it's beyond like college or?
No, they could take a class through, so like Acellus is an online learning platform that like some of the
I'm just
AP
trying-
classes run
Maybe
through.
the student
Giving
takes a Spanish class online.
Spanish, yeah.
And we don't have
Okay, so we
Spanish
don't-
teacher.
Yeah, so
Right, so they're
classes,
here.
They're here, they might be sitting in the library taking the class, but we're saying you can't go down to Subway and work on your class.
Right. Okay, but then,
Or home.
yeah.
if a student is like, let's say suspended, are they allowed to do,
It's just like homework then.
it's just homework, but they're not allowed to do
You're
any
talking suspended
online,
or expelled?
either way?
I think suspended would be, they'd just be suspended out of school for a day or two, so then they would just,
They still
They
work at
would-
home if they wanted to.
Okay,
yeah, but expelled, that would be a separate, that would
Anyone
be
who's taking an
hours.
online class can always work at night and the weekends on their homework.
okay,
It's not, it doesn't mean that only during this 45-minute
But I
time
guess-
they're in the library can you do the online work. No.
when I've been here with the expulsion, like we made it where they could do some of the academia stuff from home, but I guess that was through like an app and.
So so a student who is expelled and they're not allowed in the school building and they were assigned this, then they would for sure only work on it outside of the building because
Okay.
they'd have an
They're
expulsion
under
from the
different
school.
order.
It's a
It's a
different.
different thing.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
this
know,
would
I was
be-
just trying to piece it
this-
all together, this night
Yeah.
sounds, I was
Yeah.
just curious.
This would be like if our children were taking an online class, they would say it was fourth hour. At fourth hour, they would go to the IM or the library or to Miss Study's office or something and then work on it.
I'm
So
not-
instead of
just wondering,
going-
I was like,
yeah.
what is this mean?
So just the expectation that if they're here for all their other classes, they're gonna be here in the building for that
Okay.
class too.
The issue is students who can drive,
Yeah,
right? They always
They'll
go
take 2 online classes.
No, I get it, and
Walk,
then they're like,
then they-
okay, I wanna go to Subway, I get
Plus,
it.
it's also good for the supervisor in there to monitor their progress.
yeah.
Right.
Quick question, because Marcus will be updating policy stuff once we know the numbers. How does our new policy stuff affect the set of administrative rules? Because there is one administrative rule set in here. Are the administrative rules that we have on the books now unchanged by the new policy manual?
We did not do
We're not
it.
Right, because
doing
they're not the,
anything.
they're not the
We're not
administrative
doing
rules.
anything. We have no administrative rules.
There's
Without
none of
Neola.
Neola.
Okay. Okay, got it.
But there was an administrative rule. in
Yeah, there's an
there.
administrative rule cited on page 16, so that'll, I'm sure, just be the retention policy now instead.
Oh.
But that'll be the new update now that the policy's been approved. Got it. I wrote down administrative rule and then I had it in my brain to ask, because I didn't know how administrative rules were affected by the new policy.
Oh, yeah.
Or if those all just go away.
Yeah, we just have policy.
Okay, got it.
Anything else in that book other than dress code? Because I'll put dress code back up there and we can edit it so it's approvable for you guys. Is that what I'm hearing? So did we get a motion to approve it with and then recommended changes?
We can do, I mean,
That's probably the,
I guess my first question is, are there other board members who want to weigh in at all on dress code? Chris or Emily, we haven't heard from you.
Yeah,
I hear, I remember the 2023 conversation about it as well. Harry and Aaron, I agree with you thinking about just the impact that it has on your students, and knowing that that had been a big conversation, and having the kiddos effectively advocate for that as well. That's existing in my histories too, as far as being in favor of removing the drifts, but my other side of it, thinking about the difficulty to enforce that and consistency across all teachers to enforce it, of what that looks like. If it's a shirt that needs to be tucked in, well, it can certainly get tucked in the front, but if you have someone sitting down in a chair and now their back is showing because the shirt, I think it just makes it sets teachers up for a very difficult situation to enforce. It's just because everyone's midriffs look a little bit different. Pants are low, pants are high, like it's a pants thing too. So I think it's setting teachers up for having to make this decision every day if this is something that they should tackle today or not tackle today, or maybe I don't have the energy today, but maybe tomorrow I'll get in it. And so, yes, you may have somebody get dress code one day, but somebody not the next day because of negative interaction. So I just feel like it confuses things a little bit, whereas if we're very specific with the genitals, buttocks, and nipples, and then of course you do have down lower on, like the singlets and things like that are not, appropriate. So that covers some other things, swimsuits and whatnot. That is covering some basics as far as, what this just isn't school attire appropriate. And again, we as a governing, as a school body, should have, of course, this baseline, but every family has the ability to talk with their kiddos about what's appropriate for them and what's not appropriate for them, and why that should be. But as a school body, we can't enforce our beliefs onto families, which I feel like that gets into a little bit as far as body image goes. So that's where I'm sitting on that. I understand the hoodies, the hoods, that disappoints me a little bit, but that's more of a parent thing. So I understand that the hoods.
But they can wear a hoodie to school.
Yes, but
Those
I'm
kind of
saying
They wear the
sweatshirt,
sweatshirt, but they can't put the hood up.
Okay.
They can't have their hoods up.
Because of the problem with fighting with the earbuds and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But I am understanding like the way that gets into, in the way of academics, or being able to not maybe shut down or shut out some of the world, which I think is helpful for some students who maybe have some more emotional or mental health kind of struggles that they may be dealing with, as the hood is kind of a protection for them. But I am understanding the kind of classroom side of that as well. So is that are hoods not allowed in hallways or just in the classroom?
I would say hoods would not be allowed in the classroom. And I know that if students have, I believe there's one student who has it in their 504.
I just wrote that down.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good.
Because if
really
it was
good
a
point.
student, that's where I was gonna go with that too.
And just like all things, I think that like we have to understand is that not all things apply to all people equally like that. And if you see someone with a hood and I say, hey, you take your hood off, but I don't say anything to anyone else, well, like it's just not applicable to everyone else because they have different needs than the other students do. So yeah, like hoods, I think hoods in the classrooms would be the primary issue, and target always is a different story. I don't really see a huge issue with that because it's not an academic time. I think the focus would be on academic time. So for me personally, as an educator, I want all our students to feel really comfortable in the building in what they have to come to school in, and how they feel when they're in their classes. As far as midriffs go, I haven't really spoken about it. My only issue that I've had here with midriffs since I've been at Frederic, or even in the past, I don't really think like that. I don't see students. I don't see it that I don't know, maybe I have blinders for that, I don't see it. I've got kids now, maybe now that I have my own kids, I'll start seeing it more. But like, is a group of boys who have t-shirts, they cut out the sides and basically are wearing a tunic, is what it looks like, and the side is completely open on the side. The only midriff that I've seen that bothered me was this group of boys, and that's the only time. I think the style of the day is more like it's just the way it is. And I think in the late '90s when I was in school, that style was also very prevalent, and it wasn't really an issue. Everybody wore it, and it became something that you just didn't really notice. But I think in my opinion, I think it has to do with intent, and we battle with this. We want these kids to be professional versus what our view of professional is and what their view of professional is in their future world. So I don't know. I don't know the right answer of it. I just know that I don't think midriffs in this building, since I've been here, in my educator opinion, has been an issue. I have not seen it, and I think, I don't know, if putting it in there would actually create, you said, it might create a problem, or this thing where like, oh, I've got to monitor this now, so I'm really on it to monitor this. And I don't know the right way. I think if midriffs were in there, teachers should be trained properly on how to address that. I think that's like, there should be a level of sensitivity there that you could have, that no matter what it was that we had in here, we should be able to address it effectively as adults in this building that provide this safe space for these students. There should be. And it should never be a shame issue. It's really sad to hear that. And that's like, I see that side of it, and I think of my own kids, and I see the other side of it. Well, we want to provide this high bar for high academics and high achieving students. And so I battle with it on both sides, but I can tell you that I haven't seen, other than a group of boys that, I don't know what, they cut their shirts. I don't know if you guys have experienced
The time that they did that,
It's very unusual.
do you know what that does though? You're exposing nipples then, right?
Yeah.
Then it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
generational. And I'm like, oh, you're not covering. Yeah.
So like, that's the only time I've seen a midriff bottom me. And I think because it was purposeful. Like, you took a garment and you deliberately altered it to expose, like, I think that was maybe what
And they
bothered me.
achieved exactly what they were trying to achieve.
I don't know if it was at me, but to the world. But
They did not win the Cornelius Cup, I'm guessing.
well, I have a couple of them actually. That's true. So I guess that's my take on dress code. I want everyone to feel comfortable here. And I think I see like pajama pants, like that, like I want a professional environment, like with the makeup, you said with the makeup and then how that's professional, and then pajama pants and like not. It's just it's a really hard balance, but.
Well, and I think that, I'm sorry.
No, I'm kind of rambling now, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't think that the dress code is our only opportunity to teach kids about opportunities to dress correctly for the thing they're engaged in. We have FBLA, and there's rules about what you have to wear to be part of FBLA. We make efforts with our music concerts to ask kids to dress a little differently for those concerts, and that's an opportunity to, as a performer, to dress differently. We have opportunities, and I think we can, in our relationships and modeling as adults, we can demonstrate those things to them. I think we don't have to, I don't think it's giving up the lesson not to have it in the dress code, is my view. I think our opportunity for teaching actually increases by not having it in the dress code. Because to me, having it in the dress code is the same thing as saying, you're going to respect me because I said you're going to respect me. Versus, I'm going to teach you how to respect me and earn that respect, which I think is different. So I don't think we give up the professional lesson. I think we have lots of opportunities for the lesson about I don't know, also partially in my mind, professional is the wrong word, because for what profession? For what profession?
I was gonna say that.
You know, my son who works in finance in Minneapolis wears something very different than his good friend who's a lineman.
Yeah.
But they both dress appropriately for their jobs, and they're both, it's the right wardrobe for their profession, but if you stood them next to each other, you would, you know, so that word's a little weird, but I still think we have lots of opportunities for that lesson. I don't think we're giving up that lesson if we were to strike that word from the.
I think it creates a lot more conflict having that word there than just taking it out. You know?
Well,
Like, I think a lot more people are gonna be showing up here if we have that word in next to genitalia and nipples, than if we just get with the times. I mean, it used to be like even, you know, I go into certain schools like, you know, have it where girls have to wear skirts below their knees because knees were sexualized, you know? I think we're past that, like what decade are we in? That's just me.
Well, speaking to that, I was in 8th grade when they dropped the dress code saying girls had to wear dresses to school. And which was a good thing because I was wearing a dress in 7th grade that you couldn't bend over and drink water out of the fountain. I don't know why my mother let me wear that, but she did. Apparently she wanted me to be cool and part of the crowd. The second thing is, and I don't see any academic change. We went into high school, all of a sudden we're wearing bell bottoms and beads, and still the people who were academically astute. The ones who weren't. That's just the way it was.
Yeah.
I don't like putting something in that's going to be a hardship for a teacher to enforce, because I've been in that position as a teacher, been told you have to do this or that, and then when you carry it out, then you get thrown under the bus, kind of thing. So if it's not enforceable, it shouldn't be in there. If it's not clear, like you say, is there training? Do we have a standard script response? If we don't, then it shouldn't be in there. So, and I can see it's already caused a problem. I mean, we already have someone coming in. That's just the tip of the iceberg, I think, and it kind of distracts from the academics if we're worried about what kids are wearing rather than how they're performing as learners.
So I would like to make a motion that we strike the word midriff from the proposed dress code and approve the handbook with that change.
And would anyone oppose having hoods? Students may not wear hoods in the classroom or during academic time, or can something be amended there? Would anyone be opposed to that?
I would be okay with that change. If that, do you think that's possible, Marcus, to word that properly in a way you think is okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it sounds good too.
Yeah, we got a motion, so we gotta get it.
Yeah, so my motion then would be for those two changes, to strike the word midriff and to clarify that the restriction on hoods is only during academic.
Right, in the, what kind of hat? What did you, I mean, could they wear that in the hallway?
Can we use the word stocking cap instead of skull cap?
Sure.
Because I think skull cap literally doesn't cover the ears.
Yeah, it's like kind of like.
And is it like the Jewish
beanie or
Yeah.
the stocking? Like stocking cap?
I think you're right.
Culturally stocking cap?
It does say any headgear that covers their ears, so it doesn't matter what you call that.
Sure.
Right, anything covered, the goals to not cover ears during academic time.
So maybe we just do that, or just say, yeah, unless it's.
remove words that define it. And
Okay, we got a motion, so we gotta get the motion right.
as far as not covering ears.
Just keep adding things to it.
I know.
I was like, I'm trying to.
Okay.
But that would be
Well, I
like
was
different.
thinking about that, that was huge. point of contention in there back in the 2000s because you have the girls wearing
The,
headgear.
yeah, you're going to
I had
headgear.
the hijab,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
kids had
Yeah.
headgear,
Yeah.
some I-